Hello again, and how are we all? Good, I hope. Right, here I am with another book review. Last time I did Meg Origins, and this time I do Meg, a novel of deep terror. Let's get that in frame so everyone can see. Again, I've written up a review a couple of days ago, and now I'm putting up a video version for you guys. Yay! Right, let's get into this. Meg, a novel of deep terror. First published in 1997 and re-released in a revised and expanded edition in 2005, Meg, a novel of deep terror is the first entry in Steve Alten's Meg series. The main core of the story revolves around a disgraced former aquanaut named Jonas Taylor who was doing top-secret dives for the US Navy. The book's prologue starts in the late Cretaceous period where a herd of duck-billed dinosaurs called Shuntungosaurus, who are attacked by a Tyrannosaurus on a shoreline while they're foraging for food. As the Tyrannosaur closes in on a pair that break away from the herd and flee into the sea, it becomes entrapped in the muddy seafloor where it is brutally and swiftly killed by a Megalodon after the pair of Shuntungosaurus has managed to escape back to the beach. The book then goes ahead to the present day, where our protagonist Jonas Taylor is giving a lecture to a packed auditorium of over 600 people at the Scripps Institute about the Megalodon. Jonas continues his presentation by showcasing a few Megalodon teeth and addressing theories about the circumstances of the creature's disappearance from the world's oceans, ranging from falling temperatures to smaller and faster, making it harder for Megalodon to feed. An old man raises his hand to ask Jonas his theory on how the Megalodon disappeared, to most of the audience's unanimous agreement. Jonas responds by referring to his thoughts, which differ to what many in the same field of study think. As the lecture continues, Jonas's wife Maggie and best friend Bud Harris enter the auditorium and quietly take 2 seats, due to Jonas running behind schedule for an award ceremony that Maggie is due to attend for a journalism piece on the Save the Whales campaign. After leaving the auditorium and heading to the award ceremony venue, Jonas and Maggie argue while Bud diffuses the tension, which temporarily stops but builds up again during the ceremony itself, where Jonas has too much to drink and sees Bud dancing with Maggie while groping her buttocks with a little help from Maggie herself. To which Jonas punches Bud in response and leaves to go outside and clear his head. While outside, Jonas is approached by Terry Tanaka, who was also at his lecture, and she offers him a ride home, while asking him to come with her to Monterey to meet her father, Masao Tanaka, who is also a friend of Jonas, and needs his help in recovering a damaged Eunice. This stands for Unmanned Nautical Informational Submersible, which is part of a joint project between Masao's own Tanaka Institute and JAMSTEC, the Japanese Marine Sciences Technology Center, where the Tanaka Institute is to provide JAMSTEC with 25 Eunice robots to monitor the sea floor to detect seismic activity along the 125-mile stretch of the underwater canyon known as the Mariana Trench, in exchange for funding for Masao's dream project of a whale lagoon, which would be connected to the ocean by means of steel doors, where whales can swim in and out whenever they want, give birth, and raise their young in relative peace. Terry then tells Jonas that a large number of the Eunice units have ceased transmitting, following the unit in a photo she shows him earlier in the conversation. Because of the Eunice going offline, JAMSTEC cuts the funding to the whale lagoon, which in turn forces Masao to send his most experienced pilot, which is his own son, DJ Tanaka, down to investigate and recover one of the Unuses for examination. Jonas then accompanies Terry the next morning to the Tanaka Institute, where Masao greets them and takes them into the projection room, where footage of a Unus is being reviewed by Alphonse DeMarco, Masao's chief engineer. During part of the footage review, Jonas sees a fuzzy right triangular object which is blown up and looks like a tooth. And Masao, knowing roughly what happened to Jonas 7 years previously, gives him the opportunity to return to the Mariana Trench alongside his son DJ, to recover the object and confront his fears. Now, I have to be honest, when I first picked up Meg, I honestly had no idea what I was in for, but the cover look at the cover, that looks thrilling enough to spark your interest. After reading the book, I have to say it's an incredible thriller from front cover to back. It's one of the few books I have to admit I did not want to put down at any given point. The author Steve Alten, or Alten, however it's pronounced, has clearly done a lot of research here, and it does show throughout the book, especially in a scene where Jonas's paleontology lecture near the beginning of the book, or the scenes in which Jonas is explaining to the others how they're going to capture the shark, how it hunts, and how they're going to catch it. Works really well. When Alten is using this heavy scientific terminology in descriptive passages, at times it does feel a bit chunky to read. I don't know if that's the pronunciation of the word I really want to use. Thankfully, it's not really a constant feature throughout the novel, but it does bog down a couple of sections. I do have some points and inconsistencies that I must address here, and the first one is sort of the most obvious, the front cover and the prologue. It shows and describes a megalodon killing and eating a T-Rex. While the idea of a 60-foot-long shark attacking and killing the tyrant Lizard King does give us as the readers a good sense of the creature's power, and it establishes its status as Lord Master of the Sea, this is wrong. I looked into this. The earliest discovered megalodon, by means of carbon dating, a specimen's teeth, would put it at the late Oligocene, or 28 million years ago, where dinosaurs like T-Rex went extinct at 65 million years ago, leaving roughly 37 million years apart, which would make it impossible for these creatures to ever meet. The second criticism I have is the characterization of the female characters. The female characters presented in the book are shown in a somewhat sexist light, misogynistic as well. This is something I didn't really expect to read in a novel like this one, but I personally think that Steve Alten himself does not share these as his personal views on women, but I got the sense that he had some degree of difficulty writing female characters. However, they do get better with each entry in the Meg series. Another criticism I sort of have is Masao Tanaka. My nitpick here is less to do with his characterization, and it's more of a flaw in his backstory. From the moment he is introduced in Meg, he comes across as a slightly stereotypical aged Japanese businessman. He speaks good and fluent English, but it's interspersed with Japanese terminology, such as referring to Jonas as Taylor-san, and when he's angry, he goes back into full Japanese. By no means is this really offensive, and to be honest, I think he's one of the more well-rounded characters in this book. But later on, let's see, I'm trying to find the chapter here. No, I'll look it up later. Basically, we are told in the book this whole backstory falls apart. We discover that during the Second World War, Masao, who was 4 years old at the time, and his parents, who were living in America, are taken into a Japanese camp after the attack on Pearl Harbor. In this camp, both his parents died, So he was then adopted and raised by an American couple in America. Surely a character raised in America by American foster parents from the age of 4 would not come across as a stereotypical Japanese businessman who speaks with Japanese acronyms in a way that would kind of suggest he has a Japanese accent. This is just me nitpicking at the most. My last real criticism is the incident aboard the Sea Cliff. My main problem with this plot point is that it's constantly referred to, but it's not really explained much in detail. However, I think that it was written like this in order to progress the story instead of it staying in one particular point and making it repetitive and stale. However, this is all addressed in Meg Origins, so it kind of makes it a moot point, but I thought I'd mention it anyway. Putting these minor nitpicks aside, Meg Origins is overall a thrilling good read. It has great character development, and the journey into the Mariana Trench is written with absolute atmospheric genius. The terrifying abyss closes in around our characters, along with the fear of the things that swim out in the total darkness. The main action and attack sequences are written with such incredible attention to detail. But I think that Steve Alten's best achievement in this book is the Megalodon itself. In it, he's created a creature that's not only beautiful and elegant, but really horrifying at the same time. And it captures our most primal of fears in a similar way that the shark did in Jaws. Okay, now for my personal last thoughts. The book itself, I think, is a must-read for anyone who's interested in the ocean or sharks in general, but I think it's a definite for also any reader who wants a superb thriller. The last 30 or so pages of the book are pure thrilling action, which leads to an amazing climax. I completely recommend this book. It's a great read and a real page-turner. Now, Meg, A Novel of Deep Terror, is available in paperback, as you can see here. It's also available in hardback. It's also available as an ebook. I have it on my iPhone as well as an ebook. I got mine from the iBook store, and I've also got it in paperback, as you see here. It's also available as an audiobook, a cassette audiobook, and like I mentioned in my previous video, it's now been re-released on CD as an audiobook alongside Meg Origins. So it's 2 books, 2 CDs. And that's it for my review of Meg, Novel of Deep Terror. Next time, I'm going to be reviewing the sequel, The Trench. That's basically it for this video. Hope you enjoyed watching, and once again, thank you. Until next time, see ya!